What's going on, everybody? Things have been a little crazy with the new job and the baby and stuff, so I haven't been making videos, but we're gonna get back on track here, I think, and got a schedule figured out that should work out. Yesterday would have made it yesterday, but obviously, as I just said, things are a little wild. But Fed funds rate, interest rates update, and really, as far as an update, I mean, we just got what we thought was gonna happen, and they've paused interest rate cuts, and I mean, it's kind of expected, and truthfully, this is what I thought was going to happen. This was the general consensus. It just makes sense. These rates are going to stay where they're at for a little while now because they can't afford to cut them. So I guess the Fed funds rate now is chilling at 4.25 to 4.5%, and it's going to be there probably until spring of this year, late spring into summertime of this year. You can watch the FOMC meeting if you want, something like that. I'll link it below in the video description down there if you want to go watch 50 minutes of Powell talk. It's just not that interesting, though, to be honest. You're not missing a whole lot. Their basic concern is, I mean, we've talked about it in the past, but they can't cut rates when inflation is reaccelerating, and right now we're either holding on inflation per their metric, or the inflation is ticking up slightly. And this was always like a warning or an outcome that was like could happen depending on what goes on, and that was the theory of like higher for longer, basically holding these interest rates at a higher percentage just because they haven't really had the necessary effect that they were kind of going for here. I don't know. I was listening to, I think it was Shapiro today, talking about his theory was that they were cutting rates basically to inject money into the economy pre-election. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but they can only do it so far without absolutely like breaking things. So they had to stop. One way or the other, they had to stop. The Fed's position is that they're gonna just be data dependent and try to go slow and basically slowly cut so they don't overcorrect one way or the other, cut too fast, or have to raise them again or anything like that. And like I've mentioned in previous videos, their whole deal is, their dual mandate is maintain inflation at 2% and full employment, basically maintain their employment goal. So they're walking the tightrope at all times right now. In my personal opinion, I'd say they're not doing it successfully, but I'd say it's pretty much impossible to do it successfully. They're kind of like a reactionary thing. They can try to predict what's going to happen, but the entire economy as a whole is a monster thing to try to predict. It just doesn't really work like that. And in total, all that really matters is regular people. When interest rates stay high, it's harder for you and me, basically. Mortgages are going to be higher. Car loans are going to be higher. Anytime you got to borrow money, the interest rate is now going to be higher because it's all based off, relatively, it's not all based off the Fed funds rate, but I'm still trying to understand the relationship of mortgages and the 10-year Treasury and Fed funds and all that kind of stuff, but it's correlated at a minimum. The funny thing this time around is that they've cut 100 basis points since they began cutting back last year, and actually mortgage rates have went up. They've cut 1%, so 100 basis points, and mortgage rates have went up 100 basis points, so they went up 100%. So it's like they're actually diverging from each other, which is not normally how this works, and I don't know what that's necessarily a sign of. I would assume it's a sign of people don't want the 10-year Treasury, so the rate has to increase to make it basically incentivize you to purchase the Treasury. So people are basically worried about the outlook of the economy in the future. They want a higher return to lock their money up in a Treasury. So if you know more about it, feel free to educate me in the comments, but I think that's the basic understanding of things, and I can't disagree with them because I don't think things look all that great right now. Prices are still high, rates are still high. I don't know where we go from here. They continue their attempt at the soft landing. I don't think we'll get there. They're kind of already claiming victory in a way, but this last little thing where they're going to pause and kind of wait out and see what happens with inflation is really going to be the test. So we're gonna find out. I mean, throughout this year, probably, if they succeeded or not. My guess right now, they have not succeeded. The little wrinkle that is this whole situation is Trump, as the new president, is coming out and saying he's pressuring the Fed to drop rates, and then subsequently the entire world to drop rates along with the United States, because the United States kind of normally leads the way in this sort of thing, because I mean the dollar is the world reserve currency and all that, so everybody kind of follows our lead, it seems like. The problem is Trump wants them to lower the rates. He can't lower the rates. If they cut rates too fast, inflation takes off again, and then I don't know, we're back where we started kind of. So that's an issue, and the prices are already higher than they've ever been. So if you run into 8, 9, 10% inflation again, where everybody's fucked. I mean, a solid amount of people are already fucked as it is. If we go back to that, it's just, we're talking like actual recession, depression, like economic collapse. Like, we just can't do it. So they have to keep it up. But Trump wants to go drop it low to stimulate the economy and get things moving. I mean, I guess that's the theory of today's government and economists, is pump money into the system as the only way to make things run smoothly. I don't necessarily know that's true. I would think you could become more efficient, innovation, some things like that would you could grow the economy that way instead of just infinite spending. But infinite spending is the easy way. Print the money, keep the economy growing, at least make it look like it's growing. Whether it's actually growing or not, who knows. But we're going to come to a clash here with Trump as the president and Powell as the head of the chair of the Federal Reserve. As far as I understand, he is appointed by the president, but he cannot be replaced by the president. So I don't know if unless the only way he gets replaced is when he steps down. I don't know. I gotta look into this a little bit. I don't quite understand. But the Fed is not a government agency. They're quasi-government, however you want to understand it. But the government doesn't have any control over what they do. There's a partnership, there's a relationship between the two. But Trump can't just tell him what to do and see it happen. And Powell says he's not cutting the rates. They said they're going to wait. Data dependent, like I said. So I don't know what's going to happen as far as like the conflict that this is going to get into, because it's obviously going to piss Trump off because he's trying to make his bring the economy back as much as possible and make it look good. I don't think long term. I think they probably should have left rates higher than they are right now, actually, and drive inflation back to at least 2%, if not a little lower, and try to get us back to some sort of normalcy. But hey, they didn't do that, so now we see what happens. I don't know. You guys got to let me know what you think. Like I said, we'll be back to making regular videos and getting back to some good financial topics. There's plenty of stuff going on. I don't know if you guys saw that plane crash in D.C., hitting that helicopter and all that. I figure that's kind of out of the scope of the channel in reality, but I mean, it's still interesting. Current event type thing. But if you haven't looked at that, go check it out. If you got something out of the video, let me know. Like the video, dislike it if you didn't, tell me why, and subscribe, come back for more. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow. Catch you guys then.